One. Hello, hello.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Oh yeah.
I know. 2025. Ooh.
What what you do for New Year's?
Nothing. It was, I watched a movie. I was I will say that I had some wild younger days.
Mm.
Um, so I very much enjoy my I'm in the house.
I
Like, yeah.
I enjoyed all the memes about people talking about how they're doing nothing. Like people showed tickets of exclusive seating in their living room for 9
Period.
p.m. Or, what's the outfit we're gonna wear to our living room today? I don't know. I'm still thinking about.
I was very cute for my living room. I did
Oh.
all my New Year traditions. So I had my 12 grapes at midnight,
Oh.
barely underneath the table, but kind of. And then the next day I cooked. So I made some really good greens, some really good black eyed peas. I was very proud of them. So hopefully I get some luck.
Nice.
We'll
Uh,
see.
me, and- Me and my friends, we had our Christmas giving exchange, and I
Mm,
hosted it at my place. So I'm on probation at my new job, so I had to work that day. But I got home. We worked left a little early. I got home, immediately started cleaning.
hmm.
Um, thing is about this new job is that previously I had really great privileges in terms of being able to work from home. But since I'm
Right.
on probation at this new job, I have to go in every day. And it's like a regular job, and like from before COVID, where you just go in at 8 and clock out at 5 and all that good stuff. So I'm still trying to get used to that paradigm. And I haven't had a lot of time to clean my apartment. So I had to rush
Yeah.
home, clean my apartment, and I was exhausted by the time my friends came over.
Yeah.
And they were tired too for whatever they were doing that day. And we exchanged gifts, and I swear at 11 o'clock we were done. We're like, can we do New Year's early?
Please. Yeah, I mean, it's New Year's on the other coast. So
Right. So we had our champagne. We called it a night. It was so funny.
that's hilarious. And you
Yeah.
got home. Look, you got home before the drunk drivers, like all the things.
Right.
You know, I want to
Yeah.
also make sure that I give a shout out to the people who are doing the buy me a coffee. We greatly appreciate it. So
Yes.
last week we had Jen, Janice, and Pooja, and we just cannot say thank you enough.
Yay.
As we continue to talk about this show and our lives, we just appreciate y'all rocking with us um, for that. You were telling me that you saw Wicked. Funny enough, I went not on the first but the second. I did a double feature. We did Wicked and
Mhm.
Mufasa.
Oh, nice. So yeah,
Hmm.
I saw Wicked last night. I had finally, again followed through and did more chores. I did laundry. I cleaned out and organized my closet, and I did laundry. And so Saturday I was like, what am I gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna watch Wicked after I was done. And oh my God, it was so good. Y'all, I don't know why, but I don't listen. Well, I don't listen to Ariana Grande's music. I feel
Hmm.
like she's like young or youngish for me to,
I do listen to
yeah.
Ariana.
And, but whenever I've seen her on Saturday Night Live, or she does an interview on Jimmy Kimmel or whatever, she is hilarious. She's funny. She sings on point.
Every time.
Whatever she's singing, like her impressions are top notch. Um, and so, but every time I see her, I'm always pleasantly surprised about how good she is as a performer and actress altogether. And so seeing Wicked, oh my God, I saw the Broadway play, and
Hmm.
I saw snippets of the original cast.
Oh yes.
She
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she played Galinda. That's Galinda. Good tea. She was so good.
Hmm.
And of course, I wasn't surprised by Cynthia Erivo being good. She
She's
was
phenomenal.
flawless.
Yes,
That
it's wild. She's so
the
good.
the defying gravity scene, it meant so much to see it on film because
Hmm.
it just added more gravitas to it. And it
Yeah,
was just, it made me like, oh my God, I'm gonna, it was just, it was amazing. So if you guys were on the edge, teetering about whether or not you want to go see Wicked, go see it. It's available on Amazon to stream if you don't want to go to the theater.
you're so funny
It's,
with these free ads. Yeah, I
I
mean, so no, no, no. But I will say, I will
know.
say this: if you can still go have the theater experience, go have the
Yes.
theater experience. It
Yeah.
is so good. I mean, Cynthia Erivo is unfairly talented. Like it's
Right.
wild. Why does one person need that much talent? I don't know, but I'm gonna enjoy it. She's so
Yeah.
good. She first came on my radar. There's this show called The Terrell Show on. He like has like a YouTube show and people come sit on his wall
Mhm.
and they sing. He has like varieties of celebrities. He's had every member of Destiny's Child except for Beyonce. He like it's just like always he has good people. And so years ago he had Cynthia when she was like in The Color Purple, and I just remember her doing one of the songs from Color Purple, and I sobbed. I was like, oh my God, why am I having this emotional experience by how good she is? And so I love Wicked too. I've seen the play many, many, many times. The Tiny Desk is also really great. So if you're on NPR, like NPR's YouTube, The Tiny Desk, highly recommend it. Um, I'm Not That Girl is like one of my favorite songs from Act One. So when Cynthia killed that, I knew because I did not listen to the soundtrack before I went.
Mhm.
When Act Two, when Part Two comes out, I when they do For Good, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm certain I'm gonna be crying in the theater.
Oh my God. I first came across Cynthia Erivo when Prince died.
Oh,
And the cast of Color Purple did at the end of their show, because Jennifer Hudson, I guess she had just formed her relationship with Prince.
hmm.
And so she was really sad. And the cast did Purple Rain.
I remember
Um,
that.
and
Hmm.
and Cynthia Erivo was singing like the first stanza, and oh my God, I was bawling. And I was
Hmm.
like, who is this girl?
Yeah.
I mean, so y'all, again, y'all Google Purple Rain Prince Color Purple and see that video. Then you'll go down a rabbit hole of all the Prince
You're right.
lyrics. But
Right.
but but watch, oh my God, that video was like it was ooh. And so I've just been a
Hmm.
fan of hers ever since. And I had been what it not only that, up to that point, I had been watching like Hollywood Reporter, Variety, and I think it's Los Angeles Times that do these actors roundtables.
Hmm.
And a lot of people, like the press tour for Wicked, a lot of people were like, oh, Ariana and Cynthia are so emotional and just ragging on them for all that. I was like, if you watch the movie, you understand the process you have to get to in order to really pull these characters off. You would totally understand. And so I'm just like, boo to all the people that make fun of them because
Yeah,
they
I
are just
mean,
phenomenal. Just
and
phenomenal.
both of them, these roles mean a lot to them. Like
Right.
Ariana, since she's been famous, has talked about wanting to do Wicked, and like she went into like the process of Wicked. Like she didn't
Hmm.
go in with her name because she's like a pop star. She went in and was like, I'm a theater kid and I want to do this, and
Hmm.
auditioned because like they were pushing back. Like I don't know if we want to have her name attached to this thing. Um, and then I mean, like you said, the material is so emotional for them. And I
Hmm.
think so. If anybody knows the show, the theater show, it's like the part one and part two. They filmed those back to back. So
Hmm.
we only got the first half, and then we get the next half in November. But they filmed it, so they have been together for a year filming this.
Yeah.
So anyway, really really great. Um, Opposite of some of the feelings I have about GH, but we'll talk about that. um, and yeah, also kind of like after we get done talking about this week, I do want to talk about. So I've been watching GH on the Roku channel, so it's like an older
Oh,
one. And I want to just talk about a little bit of those differences and what I'm saying, and maybe we can talk about some ways that we love to see the show get fixed this year.
Now we need to talk about that spoiler video too.
Ooh, yeah, we can talk about that too. So, who is your performer of the week?
I have to give it up to my favorite men. If y'all know who those are, Dominic's and Bernia. Anyway,
Absolutely.
he did an amazing job clapping back on Lulu on Friday. And just being an amazing job just this whole morning period over
hmm
Sam. I think he's been, really authentic, really emotional, just giving it a great performance. So shout out to him. And
He's
then
been
also,
awesome. Yeah, he's been
yes, he
awesome.
has been awesome. And then, we had JPS with us this week, and I think that might be the last episode he may be with us, the way they're playing it. And so just, shout out to him playing the range of wanting to live with his daughter, understanding the danger he's putting her in, understanding that she needs to be with her, needs a mother in her life, and how much, you know, Charlotte did was happy with her in those brief seconds, and just the range. This man is just an amazing actor, and we're just so blessed to have him, at least for the few days that we did have him. So yeah, shout out to him. And also shout out to Alexis Havens, because she played a good, you know, just really crazy and obsessed mom right now. Just and then, but I'm still mad at her character. I don't understand what her character's doing, but I love Alexa Havens. I love that she's, really um doing great performances in Lulu, even though I don't like what Lulu's doing. And we know that you don't care for Lulu, but I think Alexa Havens is doing a great job in her recast role. So those are my three.
I will say, I was not moved at the like meltdown. But it also, like to your point, I think does come with like how you feel about the character. I have nothing against Alexa. Like I
Yeah.
don't. We champion actresses and women on this show, so
Hmm.
it's not that. It's just I think that like in general, like sometimes some of the ways that things are directed and some of the ways things are talked about, it just does not set anyone up for success. And I'm not
Hmm.
really clear as to like why that's happening or what the writing decisions are for this. We can
Hmm.
actually just hop into the first story and talk about that.
Hmm.
We had Trina and Kai. Obviously, Kai like wanted to get away from like the spotlight, and so Trina takes him to the gallery and shows him like a piece of art. Apparently this like presentation they need to do is still not done, or like they still haven't done it. And I am just really lost by the decisions that are being made with this couple. I think that what I like about what their dynamic is that Tabiana really does get to play up some of that comedic stuff in the role, and it's not that heavy. You know what I mean? They are
Hmm.
trying really hard to make it heavy when it doesn't need to be. I like the lightness of them, and that's really it. I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know why we're doing it. I don't know. How did you feel about them?
Um, I thought the scene that they had in Art Gallery was cute. I like the fact that he's not necessarily going to be another Spencer for her. Like when
Mm-hmm.
he looked at the art, he was just like, yeah, it's just, throwing colors on a canvas. I was more paying attention to you, but I like that, I like the dynamics of their relationship, how they're cute with one another and all that. I'm not necessarily a fan of the story per se,
Mm-hmm.
like you, but I like their chemistry, and then when they are on screen, I'm paying attention because I just want to see um their chemistry together and how they're acting with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, whether or not the trajectory of their relationship is cool or not, I'm just going to try to enjoy them together and see them blossoming into a couple. For now, I'm okay for now because I just like seeing them together. I think they're a cute
Mm-hmm.
couple. They act well together, and um, I'm just gonna see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I something I had really been thinking about is just the youthification of this like young adult scene and how they won't let them grow up. And part of me is like, they should not be in college anymore. The show does no favors in the way they write college. So if you know anything about campus life, if you know anything about college, it becomes distracting for you. Um, and like that keeps them in this box. And I really would have enjoyed, even if Kai, instead of being like a football player, would have been like a recent graduate who was like doing something with art or not doing something with art. Like I was like in my head doing fan fiction. Like, what if he was like a Nepo baby around like another gallery and he didn't care about it the way she cared about it? Like, something like that, because the idea of them having to go back and forth over a school project that hasn't been happening, it's already lost my interest. And I think the football piece of it already lost my interest. Never had my interest. Um, so that's one thing. And then the other thing is, I really wish, and this comes from, like I was telling you, I was watching old GH. On the Roku channel. Like I wish that Trina would have gone to like work for, as much as I can't stand Nina, but would have been working for Crimson or Decept, like taking that art and like we know that Tabiana has this interest in fashion. And like bridging those worlds together, actually giving her something that she can do and lead on. Similar to when we had Sydney as Trina and they had her put together like the gallery around the book or whatever. The gallery keeps her so isolated. I would I would love for her to be doing something that works like in the Metro Court, and that way she can be more part of the mix, and everything doesn't have to be written. I like the stuff gets written specifically for Trina. That shows an investment, but
Mhm.
because they have to write things specifically for Trina, it keeps her isolated from other people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see like because not that we want to compare Jocelyn with Trina because I know that's
Mm-hmm.
problematic, but like Jocelyn is working in the diner. You
Right.
know, she's seeing a lot of people, she's interacting with a lot of people. It's definitely being in the gallery is isolating because nobody likes Ava. So so the only time people go to the gallery is if they want to quote unquote buy a painting, and nobody in town is wealthy enough to do that now, especially Ava. The Cassadites are gone. Cassadites are gone. And so no one's buying art just to be buying art. There's no wealthy
Mm-hmm.
people. So yeah, there is definitely limited interaction for Trina at work or Trina at work. So yeah, I do think having her go work for Crimson or some other entity would be entertaining to
Mm-hmm.
see.
I would have loved if they would have had her be like working with Rena as Lois to be like the face of deception and really have it like
Uh-huh.
deception works, you know, for all
Hmm.
ages or whatever, and having like a young
Yeah.
adult face, and then like that would have brought her into other stories. So she could have
Hmm.
moments of like talking about her grief, but then she could also be moving forward and be talking to other people. Like I said, she feels so isolated, and her family is not one that has like hands in other places. And so anyway, it's just like so many, I think, options that should have been, could have been, should have been, and still in the future needs to be for Trina. Um, I'm gonna still keep, rooting for Trina and Kai because I'm rooting for everybody black. But they need to move this along, and they need to get us, get us, get us to the next stage of where we're going with them. Yeah. Um. So Elizabeth shows up to the hospital with Lucky, and she's supposed to have a meeting. And Lucky's like, "Let me go with you." I don't know how hip is not being broke here, but we rocking with it, I guess. So, um, she's like, "No, no, no, it's friendly." And when she said that, I knew I was like, "That don't
No, it
sound
ain't.
right."
It's not gonna
And
be
so,
friendly.
no, people are dead. How's it going? Anyway, so then she walks into the room, and it's Terry, it's Portia, and then it's like hospital attorney or lawyer admin person.
Mhm.
So they are trying to like force her to answer questions in a strange way. And then Rick shows up. Knight in shining armor, Rick shows up as Liz's lawyer and gets her out of there. I have a lot of mixed feelings about the scene, but would love to hear like how are you feeling about that scene? How did that hit you? What were you thinking? Were you surprised that like it went down like that, or were you like me and was like, oh yeah, this?
No, I was not surprised, and I was getting offended because I'm like, they're like, especially when they had Portia and Terry be like, just answer the question, Elizabeth. It's okay. I'm like, how you
Mm-mm.
gonna pretend like it's okay to answer these questions when you got the hospital lawyer there? Just, making it sound more ominous, making it
Right.
sound more accusatory, asking questions that you guys know the answer to. Like, were you so and so's nurse? You know this. Look at the schedule. Why do I have to
Mm-hmm.
confirm anything? And so it was, ringing alarm bells in my head. And I don't blame Elizabeth for being like, you know what, I don't feel like I want to answer these questions.
Right.
I love that Rick came to her rescue because Rick is not now one of my faves. So I love that he did. He was just like, she ain't answer no questions. Let's end it there. But yeah, I didn't, that was very uncomfortable workplace situation for me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it at all. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I really didn't like it that Terry and Portia were there kind of backing up the lawyer because I kind of felt like they're acting like her friends. You don't do that to
Right.
your friend, so even if you
It's
are the chief of staff, you would give them a little bit of a heads up and be like, hey,
right.
Elizabeth, just FYI.
I wasn't necessarily like, of course, when you're in the room, I actually don't even know why it was written. This is again are like these decisions, right? Because I sometimes have to remember like these people do not have to be written this way. Like you didn't have to
Right.
do this.
Yeah.
Terry and Portia should have looked like, damn, this is messed up. Not pushing her, not whatever. They should have been like a more interesting, I think, angle would have been them wanting to be her friend and having to
Hmm.
grapple with that while the admin is asking her these tough questions. Because the reality is, of
Yes.
course, that she's going to be asked these tough questions. You're the head nurse. People are dead on your watch, whether you have something to do with it or not. And to be quite honest, why is Cyrus able to like stalk around the hospital with Digitalis? Where are people at? You shouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
Like a cop was just stabbed. It seemed funny, and nobody was like watching the room. These things kind of don't make sense. So you do have to ask these questions of like, what happened? We're supposed to believe that when Willow took antibiotics for Jason, it triggered something, but that Digitalis is just going missing or whatever is happening, and it's kind of a not a big deal. What are we doing?
Right. Right. So that General Hospital, has been having serious issues with medication being stolen for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
And, they should have actually asked a lot of questions when Willow took all that medication. I mean, just craziness. So,
Or
but,
like it was also not like narcotics; it was antibiotics, so
right.
it shouldn't have triggered. If you're to make me believe that antibiotics are triggering this big of a thing, how is this not a bigger thing? You know,
Mhm.
like it felt it felt naive to have Elizabeth believe that it was not a bigger thing. And this has always been my issue with the way the Elizabeth character is written, and sometimes the way they do Carly too. But that Elizabeth actually, who is a single mom of three, who is like head nurse, very capable, is like not smart enough to know that when you're going into this meeting with the chief of staff, you're not going in with your friends, you're going in as the head nurse. And that it would take Lucky and Rick to like slide in to like save her. Rick in this case.
Well, they kind of set it up that way because the like when who was the other person that died? Oh, Sam died.
Hmm.
It was just Portia and Elizabeth.
Sure.
And
But when
yeah,
the
and then
second cop
her
dies, you gotta know it's
right.
bigger.
Right, you got to know it's bigger, but yeah, she assumed it would just be again that same initial routine question. Maybe later it'd be more different, but at the same time, it's just like this is all
Hmm.
it's going bad. And she knows it's going bad because she's like when Dex died, her comment was, "There's something very wrong here.
Right.
Something is off." That was her comment.
That's exactly what she said. Yeah. And then
Right?
you have like Lucky going to talk to Isaiah. And again,
Mhm.
this is like the part that like I'm like, why did it feel like Isaiah had to like talk him into staying? And why was it like there are just like small things that I want Lucky to say. I'm an LNL2 fan. Y'all know that. If you listen to the show, you know I'm all in
Mhm.
for this version of Lucky only and Liz being back together. I'm for it. I'm ready for it. Let's go. But I also want him to say something like, I'm staying for my son and Elizabeth. And like, I feel so blessed that, I've been forgiven by Aiden. I'm not going to mess that up. Like, Cameron
Yeah.
came home and he had no reason to like be, kind to me and not be mad. And he did it. Like, these are like just small pieces of dialogue that to me feel like the writers don't care when they don't add them.
Right.
Of course we want to see like Lucky and Elizabeth and like maybe this triangle with Rick. But we also want Lucky to be like a full person.
Yeah.
And being a full person includes caring about his son.
Yep.
This is just my frustration with the show.
Well, and it bleeds over into other stories too.
Hmm.
Like, and I guess we'll talk about it later. But for me, that kind of critique bleeds over into the story when it comes to Michael and Willow. Um,
Mm-hmm.
where they're supposed to have had a conversation. Like they said, we're gonna talk to each other in the morning. They've not had that conversation, and she's moving forward with her new life without even talking to Michael and see how he feels about their marriage
Right.
altogether.
Right.
Like again, just a crucial conversation that needs to happen has not happened.
Right.
And that's what's pissing me off about it, Willow, right
Hmm.
now. And
Well,
she's just, yeah, but are we gonna move on to that question? That
well, let's actually go into Sunny's health crisis
okay.
before we do that. So so last week we had this moment where Sunny looked like he's clutching his chest. Then he does it again and like kind of falls out at the gym, at the boxing gym. Isaac, no,
Isaiah.
Isaiah, finance doctor, Isaiah comes through. I also give us more of him and Jordan. Just give us these two beautiful people doing something romantic on our screen. What are we waiting on? Anyway, that was just a sec. Like anyway, so he comes in. He sees something on the ground. He gives him medical attention. We find out that Sonny's been having arrhythmias, and like it also could like track back to when he got shot back in the day. And he needs to see a doctor about his heart, but Sonny is deciding not to because he doesn't want it to be seem like he is weak to his enemies. He asks Jason to take over the mob, and Jason says no because he's Danny's only parent. So he's happy to remain the number two, but he will not be stepping into the top position. Did you see that coming? I kind of saw that coming.
Yeah, well, the previews kind of let it lent us to the fact that Jason's going to disappoint Sunny. So,
Mm.
yes, I'm glad that yes, he is going to focus on raising Danny. That is great. I appreciated that. And yeah, it would have been too easy, I guess, for, Jason just to hand it over to Jason. I mean, Sonny to hand it
So,
over
yeah.
to Jason.
Hmm.
Um, so we have a little complication where they got to think of an exit plan. They got to think about how to let it go. And so that's going to be interesting. Um, I mean, man, that leaked preview says a lot about what's going to come. And I don't know if you want to talk about that now, but I'm just like,
I'm
I'm
gonna do
nervous.
it so that we give people the ability to not hear about it because I posted it on our Instagram too. Here's what I'll say in general about the mob: that they
Yeah.
what this writing group has done is like they put stuff down and they pick it up when they feel like it,
Oh, yeah.
and they don't care like what it means for character development. They don't care what it means for anything. So we have had the mob for all this time. We've talked about this, you and I, where the mob has not felt dangerous for a long time. Like people are just kind of tracking along. Like Sonny had no backlash from like marrying Nina. There was like no real backlash from him beating up Cyrus. Like a little bit, but not really. Like he was without an enforcer. Then he kind of had Dex, and then whatever. We have not seen a dangerous mob. And so to now try to frame it again, like, oh yeah, because it's convenient for the story, y'all need to know the mob is dangerous again, is a little frustrating for me. And I'm curious as to what they're gonna do with Sonny. I'm curious as to like what Sonny's next moves are. I do know that Mo has talked about having another year on his contract, even though that doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot because people can get bought out their contracts. Um, I don't think that they have prepared a Port Charles without Sonny. There has not been any succession planning in general. He is still the number one on the paper for episode counts. Um, so I don't know what they're gonna do with the storyline and how they're gonna move it forward. I'm curious about it.
Yeah, the show, as well as Jason and Sonny as characters, need to figure out an exit plan for Sonny.
Hmm.
So that'll be an interesting process. I think that'll be interesting stories for the year, what they're going to
Yeah,
try to do with that.
yeah. I was just like, Sonny, go to the doctor. What are we doing?
Right?
Um,
You, you ain't got like you ain't even got to go to the hospital. You can be like, can he come to me? But I guess he
right.
don't want people to be like, hey, a doctor just went into Sonny's penthouse. I don't know. I don't know how you
Who
keep your life
knows?
so private.
Who knows?
Where, yeah.
Well, let's get into Willow and Drew. All I can think is like just a full on audacity.
Audacity. Giving me
Like
audacity.
Drew comes to Willow's job and is like, "Yeah, come with me to DC. Bring Wiley." What? And then I was confused because they didn't tell Michael, but then Nina tells Michael, and the way she told him felt like tattling. I didn't understand that.
Well, I mean, I think yeah, that was kind of awkward. I think she was trying to make it sound like it was okay, but at the same time, she was tattling. Because she was like, oh, yeah, Willow, I don't know if Willow told you, but she's into DC and, Amelia's with the nanny. So I'm on my way there right now. I'm like, all of that is bad. Why is Amelia with why would Willow just leave Amelia with
Nanny while she's out of
out
town and not
of
tell Michael. What are
town and
we
not tell
doing?
Michael? Just craziness. And it was just like, it was such a slap in the face. And when all of internets were talking about Willow, it's okay for Willow to take the kids legally because she's the mom or whatever.
Mm,
I went online and looked it up and I was just like, is it really? Is it really legal? And it's true up to when you take your child out of state. That's when it's kidnapping. And
mm,
so Michael not having known that she was taking Wiley out of state. Oh yeah, there's gonna be like there is some definite legal repercussions that Diane can do. And like, when Michael was back in the office, he did call Diane and we didn't get to see the response. But
Right.
yeah, Willow made a huge legal mistake in taking Michael the way that she did. Not only was it
Yeah.
insulting as hell,
Yeah.
and it was a legal issue. I don't know how she's going to crawl her way back out of that.
Ugh.
The GH will probably find a way.
Yeah. So here's what I'll say, that not only is it a legal issue, it's also just like I don't know. I just feel like sometimes when we watch these soaps, and this is in general me too, like we sometimes like forget what being a person means. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
of course, like the show is fantastical, but like we are still supposed to have like human reaction. So,
Yeah.
yes, of course, Michael should be upset that you took my child somewhere without saying anything. That's just like as a good co-parent. It's not about what she could legally do, even if she could legally do it. That's not what you do. If I'm used to, and our dynamic up until a few days ago was that we were literally living in the same house. When you do something, it's just like, especially when you know you're about to go through a custody battle, you say something. You try to be as forthcoming and open and sharing and all of those things so that when you go into court, you show that you're cooperative. You are going into court showing that you're just flagrant. I'm gonna do
Hmm.
what I want to with these kids. And then you did all this to take the kids away, and we didn't agree on Nina being like a person. Like, why would you not bring the kid to me? It's my daughter too. Like, it's just so much that's happening that feels so trifling. But I don't know what happened behind the scenes with Chad and with Michael, but the writing is terrible for everyone all around. We have seen Chad be able to pull off being kind of a jerk. That's been some of my favorite stuff with him, like his Michael being like a jerk. Why is it that they have this Michael being a simp? And if they have plans to make Drillow work, which yuck, y'all have turned Michael into a simp as you're sending him off screen to like
Hmm.
leave behind Willow and Drew, who I don't know how they can claw their way out of this ditch, because it truly does not matter if Michael. I think that I don't know when that Chad's last day is, but it feels like he's exiting very very soon in January. I don't care what Chad does, or not Chad, Michael does between Monday and whenever. You're not gonna match the disrespect. You're not gonna match it to the point where I'm gonna be rooting for them or feel like they have a point. They have been ridiculous this whole way through. So to
Hmm.
me, they're not viable characters for me to care about. I don't. Other people might. I can't speak for other people, but they're not viable characters to me. And you're getting rid of the person who you like. There was no reason. Like if Michael was leaving, Michael kind of should have left with a bang. We should have had Willow being like more cooperative. We should have had her being somebody that felt more balanced. Because right now, don't none of us care that Michael and Sasha slept together. I don't care.
Hmm. We're actually still kind of, well, if Michael was going to stay, I would have been rooting for Sasha and Michael to be a couple after.
Yeah, 100%.
That's how much we don't care about Willow right now, how much we don't like Willow as a person
Mm-hmm.
right now. That's how much, at least me. And don't let me speak for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Me too.
But right. I am more rooting for, Michael and Sasha to be hanging out, Michael and Sasha to be doing things, taking care of their like I would even be rooting for Sasha to be like, okay, yeah, me and Michael slept together and I'm having his baby. I'll be like, yes, you yes, this is great. I'm sure all the Quartermains would love it too.
Except for Tracey.
Everybody would love it. So I think even Tracy might like it because she hates Drew right now.
She does. And rightfully
So
so.
right. So, you know, it's really crazy, and I think I talked about it on Twitter, but I just talk about it in general. I was just thinking about it. There have been several exits on the show as of late, and
Mm,
only a handful of them actually got really good storylines. I was thinking about it. I was like, how is Finn being, he was fired unceremoniously, but he still got a great story to leave out on.
mm-hmm.
Roger Howarth, on the other hand, was just unceremoniously killed and nobody cared about his death at all. You know, Gregory died, still had a better story, you know. I was thinking about,
Mm-hmm.
the unfortunate loss of Bobby Spencer, great story, you know. But Michael, just the way that they're like, I'm sorry, I'm just super pissed
Mm-hmm.
about how they're going to have him leave.
Mm-hmm.
He does not like he deserves to be able to, do a big FU to Willow and Drew and go out in a blaze of glory with his kids to Europe and be damned with everybody else.
Yeah.
But to have him go out the way that he's going out in a way, in such a painful way, having him be, basically made a fool out of by his uncle and his wife, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
I don't like it at
And
all. And
I
I'm
think that,
probably
oh, go
I'm
ahead.
probably not I'm probably gonna fast forward those scenes because I just like I don't what we were shown um as a preview was just it's like the worst nightmare, the worst way somebody.
Hmm. I mean, and I
Yeah.
think to your point, this is what a lot of people are going to feel like. We have
Hmm.
watched, for better or for worse, we have watched Michael grow up.
Right.
Chad has been our Michael for what? Like, how long has he been there? Since what, 2010, 2011?
Yeah.
Like, that's been our Michael for that long. So we have seen story after story. He's part of a family that, like, is, like, solid on the show, families, plural, that are solid on the show. We care about him more than we care about Willow or Drew. And then on top of, so even if he was a jerk to them, like a lot of us, people wouldn't have cared as much because it's like we know Michael. But to have them just be like, Willow to try to be like, oh, well, it's his fault that he didn't show me the video proof he had, that he knew I was cheating on him. Like, all of her attitude, it would be different if she knew about Sasha, but she doesn't.
Hmm.
So, what
Right.
I don't want, and I think it's not going to work if they try to use the Sasha thing to justify, retroactively her behavior. It doesn't work. It's not good. And you're leaving, again, these two people who we care about less than Michael behind after they've treated Michael poorly and he goes out in a really horrible way. What are we doing? It's silly.
Hmm. And it's really like after Michael leaves, it's just gonna even ramp up. Like you're wondering, like we're all like talking about Carly needs a storyline. Oh, she's gonna have a story,
Yeah,
you know, the worst possible story, but it's gonna be a story. And y'all gonna be
right.
even madder. Y'all got people who don't like Carly are gonna be even madder because she's gonna be all up in this, 100%,
Mm-hmm. For sure, for
you
sure.
know. So, mm,
So we do have Sasha telling Michael about the baby, and having her tell him that she does not want him to raise it with her. And he agreed to that, but they also agreed that she would stay in town. That didn't make any sense to me, but
yeah, her leaving didn't make any kind of sense at all. So, but at least now it's out of her head. And the follow-up with her going to the hospital and telling I want to call her Christina.
Felicia,
Felicia. Felicia was great, you know? And so that's how it could have been from the beginning. Her just, going back and forth about, oh, I need to leave town. No, you don't. You could have stuck with the plan. I got pregnant. I had a baby with some random dude, and I'm raising the child and let it be. Even though everybody would have. Everybody would have figured it out, but nobody would have said anything because they love Michael.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Um, so then we have okay. So Lulu obviously went to Prague to find Charlotte. Um,
Mhm.
and when she's there, Valentine shows up. He has conversation with Lulu, and then Dante comes out of nowhere. In that time, a sniper shoots at Valentine, misses, but Valentine and Charlotte bounce, and we have all this conversation between Lulu and Dante, and then Charlotte and Valentine about what the next steps are. I
Mhm.
will say there were several things that went through my mind. So this again is like my issue around like the kind of knight in shining armor thing. The one thing I felt annoyed about with Dante, the only thing, because other than that, this is gonna be Dante Love Fest, is that he knew, like Valentine, she
Right.
went by herself. Why did you think that you would barge in and that would move the needle? Like it would have
Right.
been much more. I mean, it would have made more sense if he would have been like peeking through the window, and then a sniper happened or whatever, and then that's when they saw him, and that got confused. But Dante, why in the world would you think that Valentine would listen to you over Lulu? That was annoying to me, and that was the only part of Dante that annoyed me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the character I'm annoyed with because he left his son on Christmas. Like, I don't think he should have compounded Lulu's actions by leaving as well. But I
Right?
mean, I get that Laura asked him to do that, and that's fine, I guess. But I
Where
didn't
was
like that
Lucky?
either. Right. Lucky should have been that. But Lucky's, playing hero to Liz. So
Right, right.
right. So but yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was. What did
And
you think about Valentine telling Charlotte or telling Lulu about Anna shooting Charlotte in the way that he did?
I thought that little reveal could have been better, but yeah, he was just trying to be like, she ain't no safer in Port Charles than with me. And I don't think that he won that argument with that
No,
with that information. So it's interesting that he did that. Like I don't know what his well, I do know what his goal was, but yeah, I felt like that reveal could have happened later on in some way, but maybe it's because, like I had guessed, Charlotte and Scarlett and James Pepper Stewart aren't probably coming back on the show anytime soon.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Could be, could not be. I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting. In like this kind of throwing Anna under the bus and like really manipulative because you know where I stand on that. I feel like that shooting was
Hmm.
Valentine's fault. Um, it also is going to open up like this drama for Lulu to be like asking the rest of her family why they didn't tell her.
Hmm.
Um, so that's interesting. But then I also don't agree with this whole idea that because Charlotte wants to be with Valentine, she should. Charlotte and Valentine have always had like a very like unhealthy codependent relationship. And I understand why Lulu would want her daughter back. Look, it makes sense because it's not like Charlotte is just in boarding school or Charlotte is on vacation with her father or even like living across the continent or with her father. Her father's a
Hmm.
fugitive. So if I lose sight of her now, I'm not going to see her again. So that makes sense to me. That's one. But B, too. But I don't like that they tried to make it seem like Valentine just left with Charlotte on some kidnapping mission. Anna specifically let Valentine go to take Charlotte. So now we
Yeah.
pretending like Valentine is evil for taking Charlotte. That's not. That don't feel. That's the thing. I'm like, where are? I don't. I want to watch something with stakes. I want to watch something that feels like it's building on each other and not just switching up the story when y'all feel like switching up the story. And that's what I feel like they're doing with like the Valentine story. He took Charlotte because who would she have stayed with? I mean, she could have stayed with Dante and Sam, but who would she have stayed with? And Anna said, "Take Charlotte with you." I don't know. That frustrated me. Um, and then you get to this part where Dante really let Lulu have it. And to your point, I do think that was like, Dom's really, really great acting by Dom when he was just
Mm-hmm.
like, this kid, as in Rocco, sat beside your bed, waiting for you to wake up, and you left him.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that he brought in, Sam let you have a piece of Sam's liver. I thought that was really important that you're not
Right.
actually like honoring the life that was like lost so that you could have one. And as a
Mm-hmm.
Sam fan, I'm like, absolutely, because I'd much rather have Sam than Lulu anyway.
And during Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the time where, that's like it really sucked that Rocco had to spend Christmas without his both of his parents.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
you want to go traipsing around the world, you know, and bringing a large. And like I said, I agree with you. I understand why she wants to go after her daughter, but it's just sucked for Rocco. Um,
And it
so that's
also,
unfortunate.
the show also, I think, overestimated how much we cared about Lulu and Charlotte being together. They've always had like a very weird kind of history of like Charlotte living in one place versus another place. Like this idea that Lulu was overwhelmingly needed to find Charlotte doesn't resonate because we haven't seen Charlotte in that way. And so I think the show just like completely over like they made this such a crux of so many stories about finding Charlotte. I no. I love the fact that Laura never was really looking for her. Well, like
Right.
Laura was never looking for Charlotte.
She was looking for a donor for her daughter. That's all she was looking for,
Period.
essentially.
Um. Oh, the Anna and Brennan scene. What are
I
they
didn't
doing
get
to my
that.
girl Anna? What are they doing to my first Fanola? You look fabulous. Don't change anything. We love you. Anna girl, come to the front of the congregation. What you doing? What are you doing? She felt like, or she felt a way about him speaking to Emma. It, you are the chief. You're like what, the commissioner? You putting out tasers? What are
Right.
we doing?
Hazing. That could be kind of dangerous. That's
And
almost
then
like, yeah, using a deadly weapon.
and then you having him kind of threaten you back. I don't want to see my girl get threatened by Jack Brennan. What are we doing? Not a fan. Not a fan. Don't do it again.
That was a scene that did not need to be there. Though I love seeing Jack Brennan on the screen. It
And
did not need to happen.
I love seeing him with Fanola because he's such a
Yeah.
mess.
But
But
that scene just
I only want to see her getting a heads up on him. I don't want to see him having any leverage or heads up on her. So
yeah,
let's start there.
it's purely unnecessary.
Absolutely. And then the final thing I have, and y'all, this is really because let me say this, that I used to watch the show probably 2 to 3 times a week, like every episode to like get, you know, nuggets and facts and I watched this one time. I've had a hard time getting through these episodes. So I watched once. So if there's anything we're missing, please tell us in the comments. But the last thing I have is Ava being broke. So Ava going to Alexis and being like, what up with this? Like Cassadine money, so bizarre. I hated having to see Ava like beg Alexis for anything. It also didn't make any sense because Ava, you are the reason Alexis wasn't a lawyer, and they blame me for Christina. So why would they do anything for you? I,
Yeah, I didn't like the position that they're putting Ava in as broke. She's always had money. Always. As a
hmm
Jerome, whatever investment she done with the art gallery. I like it. If she was gonna be broke, I mean like truly broke, meaning like homeless and stuff, I don't like it.
exactly. Yeah,
I mean, she
that's
was
it.
wealthy before. Yeah, she was wealthy before she got married.
Yeah, I don't.
She would have had the same custody battle with Sonny before she got married to Nicholas.
hmm hmm
So, Nicholas, I mean, she can't have, I don't, she could afford $600 lunches beforehand too. Yeah, none of that. There's nothing that Ava has done differently in her life before or after the marriage to Nicholas, except
Yeah,
have a really huge house.
that's it.
So it's not, doesn't make sense.
Mm. So this is the spoiler alert for folks because we're going to kind of talk about spoilers and then we're going to do the previews. I think most people are fine with spoilers, but just wanted to like make sure that people who were not had the time to back away from it. And I also posted it with a spoiler alert tag on our Instagram. So if you want to see the video, you can. There was a leaked video of on that was on Twitter only that had Michael getting burnt up in Sonny's penthouse. So we see Michael on fire. We see Jason holding back Sonny from like running in with maybe like some like like the kind of beams and stuff in the place falling. And this is like the assumption that this is like what Chad's exit story is. Um, Part of a lot of things irritate me. I think it's a horrible story. I think just like Tanya said, I would prefer him just taking his kids and bouncing, and leaving Willow to look stupid. Um, I would have. I don't want to see Michael go on so much pain. I don't know if this is like the start of like, oh, the mob is dangerous again. Look at this. And now we have to remember that Willow is still married to Michael, so she's like still legally in charge of his medical decisions, which sucks. Um, so I'll let you take it away because I know you had a lot of feelings about it.
Well, you kind of said them.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What I don't like, well, I'll go into more depth. The reason why I don't like the fire is like, and I'm sure it's to everybody, dying or being caught in a fire is just pretty darn scary and painful. There's nothing like you, there's nothing more painful to have to endure. And I think the last person that got on fire was, what's her name? The English lady, Holly. And that was fake. But when they showed her somebody on fire, that wigged me out. I didn't like it. I didn't want to see it, you know? And it
hmm
looks like they're going to do that again with Michael. So it's a
Right.
pretty violent way to go. And I don't like seeing it on television. I don't like seeing it on a person who I can barely stand. But to see that, have Michael go through that will be really hard for me because Michael as a character has gone through so much pain and trauma in his life already. And to
hmm
have him leave like that is just like just the worst thing. Um, and it's not something that I want to see or endure
Right.
as an audience member. So I
hmm
probably like once the explosion happened, I'll probably fast forward through those particular scenes.
hmm
I'm also not looking forward to it. Looks like, I mean, the producer or what's his name, Frank said he's there's no plans to kill Michael off. We're gonna have him endure some unspeakable pain. I don't want to see any hospital scenes. I don't want to see, Willow or whoever crying over his body all bandaged or whatever. If that's going to be
Hmm.
the way he's going to go, let it go. Let him be like, oh yeah, we, send him to a facility and all that. Have the scenes be away from Michael. I don't want to see
Hmm.
that. Um, I also, yeah, this is not something that I would want for him as a character at all. I felt
Hmm.
like I said before, as a character, I would have loved for him to be able to walk away triumphant in some kind of way,
Right.
whether he, you know, uh, slipped a video of something to the DC courts and everybody wants to recall Drew, whether Willow loses her nursing license, whether Nina like sells off Crimson to somebody else. I mean, all of that, all the things that he can
Oh
do to his
yeah, she does
enemies,
over Crimson. Yeah.
all the things he can do to his enemies, I want him to be able to do that and then go away and live his life. That's what I
Hmm.
want. That's what I would
Hmm.
want. Because all of those things would still have repercussions for the people he left behind and would have story for them. We don't need to have this be the story.
Right.
Um,
What if Michael gives Sasha Aurora?
yeah. Give Sasha Aurora a crimson, you know?
Well, because
All of
Crimson is
that.
under the Aurora umbrella.
Or matter, yeah. Um,
Hmm.
it would be more of a slap in the face to Nina if it was she gave him crimson. Because, over Aurora, Sasha will be like, oh, I still like you, Nina. You can still have it. That kind of
Hmm.
thing. Um, so yeah, I don't like it. I don't like, and I wonder at the release of it. Because they just like maybe they're kind of putting it off, or at least people are acting like it was some sort of intern mistake because it was
Hmm.
immediately deleted, but no one has said anything. So they put it
Well,
out
not
there
even
for a long,
immediately.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it was on there for a long time and it spread
Hmm.
like wildfire.
No pun intended.
Oh God. Yeah. So, yeah, I wonder at that. I don't like it. And I'm hoping maybe they pivot. I don't know, maybe too late because Chad's probably already gone.
Yeah.
So,
So here's what I'll say, just like not just about this, but so I was like rewatching some old episodes of the Roku channel, and it is the time where it's the Donna Day story, it's Oscar dying, um, it's Peter August being there with like Anna trying to figure out whether or not she's actually Robin's mom. There's
yeah.
so much going on, and even then I complain about stuff, but it's nothing like now. I Part of what happened and like a really big difference is that there were so many couples. So right now we have what Curtis and Portia, Shalyn,
Maxie and Spinelli.
Spixie, Felicia and Mac, and if there are more, then we can't think of them. They're not on the top. But like I'm watching 2 days back to back, and we got Anna and Finn, we got um Carson is together. What was it? J Sam's together. This is like the beginning of Chillo. Like there's so many couples. Valentine and Nina are together. Just that small difference. I'm like, oh yeah, like there was like romance here. People were actually
Hmm.
together. People were actually in love. Um, there was also like more than one story. Like there were like several stories and some of them bumped into each other. It just that is what I think needs to happen. We need to have more couples that are actually couples, not couples in progress. We have in progress, we have Isaiah and Jordan, we have Trina and Kai, we have this and like we have so many people who are like teetering on maybe being a couple. We don't, but they're not actually couples. Let's get people together and let's give them some interesting stories. Um, but yeah, it was like jarring to see the difference.
Mm. My only comment about these Roku shows is that they've been on that season for at least 2 months now. Ever
Yeah,
since
I'm
I
like,
started
move it
watching, I'm
on.
like, when can we move on to another year now?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah,
Yeah. Do you have anything else for this week before we go into next week?
no, I'm not looking forward to next week.
Yeah. Monday, Willow is distraught. Carly vents to Jason. Michael is in danger. Jocelyn makes a discovery. Brad lashes out.
Brad,
Mm-hmm. I
did they
guess
go to
so.
that conference? And Brad was like, "You didn't even talk to me at this conference. Why?" Oh,
That conference feels as real as Trina and Kai's project. Um, Tuesday, Jason and Sonny rush to action. Nina delivers bad news. Chase opens up to Sasha. Brooklyn makes a revelation. Portia confides in Isaiah. Okay. Wednesday, Sonny wants answers. Anna needs Brennan's help. Jason makes a request of Lucas. Nina advises Willow. Drew interrupts Carly. Ooh,
oh, that's gonna.
that
If he's, yeah, that's gonna be that might be an interesting conversation.
she got us laughing.
Because she still hasn't confronted him solely over the affair.
Right, right.
Yeah. So
Thursday, Rick tries to sway Alexis. Cyrus does some eavesdropping. Willow takes control. Diane and Martin spar. Carly and Sunny lean on each other.
that adds a whole new meaning of Willow taking control. Like you said, she's still married to Michael and she still has medical rights. Ugh.
Mhm. Friday, Carly issues a warning. Tracy and Stella catch up. Kai and Trina share a close moment. Cody seeks out Brad. Okay. Nina and Sunny make a compromise.
Maybe Cody and Brad scenes will lead to Selena Wu making her appearance.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, that is the week. That is us. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, buy us a coffee if you so choose. We appreciate you hanging with us every week, and
Let
we
us
will
know
see
what
you.
your thoughts are in the comments.
Sound off in them comments, y'all, and
Yeah.
we'll see you next week. Bye.